Hi, this is Betsy Scott. I'm the Executive Director of Programs Engagement for the Housing Innovation Alliance. Wanted to take the opportunity to create a quick video to introduce you to a special project that we're currently undertaking. It's our innovation roadmap for BIM in U.S. housing. Now, you might ask, why are we doing this? BIM isn't very big in residential construction so far, and why are we interested in looking at it? As an organization, we're focused on pursuing the American dream for the middle class. So how can we make housing more attainable for the average American who fits that $200,000 to $400,000 home? A key portion of that, a key part of that is actually delivering greater productivity. We've seen a lot of advancements in productivity, certainly on the commercial side with BIM. Builders who have taken the step and implemented it have seen a lot of great results from it. So there is interest, but there's also still a lot of questions to be answered in what are the best business models to follow and the best ownership models to follow to implement BIM within your business. Are there really good examples of what builders are currently doing in this space? So we've had a good couple years when we've been looking at BIM as part of our program. And people have really been asking us, can we get more case studies? Can we get a more structured approach for how we would think about BIM in terms of delivering greater productivity in residential construction? So that's really our intent here and the opportunity that we see as an organization to put that resource together. One of our guiding principles is that all of us collectively are smarter than any one of us. Our focus really is on collaboration in the industry and using that to drive innovation. So we see this opportunity as no different than anything else that we would look at in this space. So as we're getting more deep into this area, we've identified people who we think are really champions to help us kind of kick off this effort. So before I go into detail on what we're doing, I just wanted to stop and take a second and thank these companies. Some of them are actual providers of BIM solutions, others are builders and developers, architects, consultants, really people who have been experimenting with the technology in residential construction for years and can help us define what we should be going after in the roadmap and give us some good ideas of things and some insights that we can share with our Alliance community. So thank you guys for taking this first step with us. And certainly you'll be seeing more from these companies as we release content related to the roadmap. So you might be asking, what is a roadmap and what really is the value going to be to the production building community? We look at a roadmap through the Alliance as really being a systematic way that we can delayer a topic. There's lots of good information out there about BIM, but it's very piecemeal and it doesn't really create this cohesive picture for the industry. So that's our intent with creating a roadmap. It's that cohesive picture. And we're also using it as a structure. There are segments to it by which we can organize and share information so that it's easier for people to access the resources and info specifically that they'd be looking for. So this, just in a snapshot, all of these little bubbles, these are each of the areas that we would get into the roadmap. And in a minute, I'll explain to you kind of what each of those things covers, the nature of the information that you would find there. But before I do that, as I mentioned before, we've been looking at BIM as an opportunity over the last several years. We have a section actually in our private area of our website. So this image on the left is really a snapshot of what some of the individual channels are in the private area of our website. So we have one already that's focused on BIM, and each one of these little, this is actually that page itself, each one of these little boxes represents an asset, and it kind of goes down further on the page once you get here. But we do have 30 resources there right now. What we're looking to do is expand on the individual resources we have, but really create that structure that tells the story and makes the information more accessible to people. So we'll be adding other resources in addition to these, like additional videos, presentations, and case studies throughout the next 3 or 4 months, looking to have a rough draft of this roadmap at a higher level by November of 2019. So again, these are at a glance, each of the areas in the roadmap. I'm just going to give you a very, very quick snapshot of what's in each bucket, kind of what to expect. So why? So anytime you're embarking on a new effort, you need to know why you should be interested in doing it. There are things like industry drivers that help make BIM the time for BIM now. And there are also certainly business issues that you might be facing as a builder. So this just really is the context for kind of why to care about BIM as an opportunity for innovation within your business. What is really what the scope is. So what are the types of things that we should be looking at? And here's where we're going to explore the technology, how it might relate to strategic objectives within a builder's business, and really create the framework of how to think about and look at it before we get into the nuts and bolts of who the experts are and what the processes look like. That's really next. So how is, there are many ways that you can take advantage of BIM. And one of the big things that we've been hearing, certainly from especially regional builders, is we don't know if it's a solution we should own. Should our architectural firms own it? If we're using an offsite provider, should we just outsource it to them? So this how area is really where we're going to outline the path that you could take moving forward and what some of those best practices are from a process perspective. Then who, who's active and where are they active? In this case, there's also, certainly this is where we'd share experts, leaders in the space, consultants. Some of the people who are already our champions will certainly be featured in this area, but we'll be providing profiles of consultants that you could work with, software providers, etc., organizations that are looking at BIM in this space as well. In essence, where you could find help if this is a route that you choose to go. Then the invest or investment section. This is certainly where your CEO or CFO and CEO probably would want to see what are the big opportunities and the investment models for getting into BIM. What is really the return on investment time frame and scale? Will it do anything structurally within the company? And then what could the potential financial impact be to the builder themselves, builder developer, or the consumer? So this is kind of where you might have that financial decision point and some information that could back that up. Then in the wins section, you've seen kind of building up to this point, it's almost a picture, if you look at those pieces of what a case study would look like. So in this area, we would actually have some case studies, and we've got some live on the website already, that will cover the why a builder did something, how they did it, what kind of results they achieved. So we'll do that at the builder and developer level, also at the offsite construction provider level. And then there are sometimes that people are doing it in a project to kick it off, so those results would be a little bit different. But we'll give you some ideas of what successes people are actually seeing and what best practices individuals are employing to leverage BIM as a technology. And then this is also the area that you would see what some of the standard business benefits, like is there a certain percentage that process cycle time is affected from builders using BIM. So this is kind of where we'd share those best practices, things that you can learn from. And certainly we feel that fail forwards and risks are also something that really must be covered when you're looking at something of this scale. So we want to look at, okay, what did people learn from failure as well as what they learned from success, along with some of the other opportunities and needs in the space, like how we integrate the technology and systems and what's going on in that area as well. So that really kind of fills out the picture of what the roadmap would look like. So that's our intent over the next few months, to get a rough draft of that together, of a high-level roadmap by November of this year. As I showed you before, we have 30 or so pieces already floating around on our website. We're going to be adding things really on a bi-weekly basis. We're going to have new pieces of content here and there that really provide some of the background information that will ultimately bubble up into that more formal roadmap. And once we get further down this path over the next couple of months, we're actually going to change these little boxes. You're going to see that why and how and what and so forth are going to be accessible, so that any of the background industry driver information that we might have will be accessible in a sub-channel in this system, just to make it easier for you to find things. Our goal isn't for you to have you spend hours searching for things on our website. We don't have advertisers. Our goal is to make your time be as well spent as possible and try and give you access to information that's really going to help. So that's how we see this evolving over the next couple of months. Would love to get you, if you're currently in our community, interested in joining in our community as a member or partner engaged. And if you have any story ideas, like is there an angle in BIM that you are interested in that you want us to pursue, if you have any experts to suggest, or really if there are any resources that you would love to have come out of this process and be tools that are part of the roadmap, we would love your input, because we really drive our content and drive the resources that we're developing through our community feedback. I'm leading the development effort on this front. I'm working with a gentleman by the name of Charlie Wardell, who's been writing about housing for 30 years for Professional Builder, Builder Magazine, and others, excuse me. But feel free to reach out to me and send me any notes or ideas that you have. I'd love to hear from you. And then one last thing before I let you go, have to thank our partners overall. I already thanked the people individually who are contributing to kind of kicking off this effort, but we wouldn't really be able to do this for the industry and for our community without the support of our partners. So just wanted to take a moment to thank them, and thank you for your time, and keep looking for more resources coming out related to the BIM roadmap.